Did you expect more from President Obama, or has he gone as far as you expected him to go on the Cuban issue? Do you think that he wants to lift the embargo and that there could be proper relations between Cuba and the United States under a second Obama term?
Yo creo que Obama es un hombre justo.
I believe that Obama is a fair man, and Obama needs greater support to be able to take this decision. If Obama counted on the full support of the American people, then we could normalize our relationships. We could have better relations than what we had under President Carter.
Do you want Obama to win the next election?
Como ciudadana del mundo.
As a citizen of the world, I would like him to win. Seeing the candidates, I prefer Obama.
Give us just your initial impression of her. What was she like?
Well, Carol, she's obviously very frank, and let's be absolutely frank as well. Mariela Castro was granted a visa to come to the United States by the State Department, specifically in her role as leader of gay rights and gay activism in Cuba. So she went to a conference in San Francisco, she came here to New York, and she was speaking all about that. And I've questioned her quite deeply about that. But of course, within that context, I questioned her about civil rights, political rights in her own country, in Cuba. And it's very interesting what she had to say. She is the second generation, and she is agreeing and acknowledging that there do need to be changes. Already her father, Raul Castro, who's now president there, has implemented some economic freedoms, some economic progress there, because they know they have to change. But of course, everything that the Castros say is reflected through the lens of the 50-year embargo. So when you ask about this or that or opening up, it's always about, well, you know, we want to, we're trying, we're moving, but we're under this 50-year embargo from the United States, and that makes it much slower. That's their reasoning.
As you know, Christian, Republicans and conservatives aren't so happy that the Obama administration let Ms. Castro into the country simply because of human rights abuses taking place in Cuba still, and of course her dad's a dictator.
Well, listen, Carol, as you know, I mean, this is not new. The Cuban-American community has always had very angry relations with the Castros. But as you also know, that is changing in terms of the dynamics of that relationship between the different demographics. If you look at the polls, much younger Cuban-Americans have a very different view and are much more open to changing this policy, which all of us know has simply not worked. The embargo, if it was intended to break the back of the Castros and have them fall, has simply not worked. So President Obama has tried to do things, and as you know, she was invited in, or rather not invited in, but allowed to come in, not just under President Obama, but under President Bush as well. The last time she came in was in 2002. But we did ask her very pointed questions about all the issues that make people outside of Cuba question what's happening there. And this interview is going to air on CNN International on my program, also online at Amanpour.com. So it is a long and interesting interview, and what she said about President Obama was reflected from the fact that she admires what President Obama has done for the gay community in this country, particularly his latest statement supporting gay marriage.
Okay, so I'm going to a final question. So should President Obama be happy about her endorsement?
You know, I'm sure a lot of people in the political sphere will make a big deal about this, but the fact of the matter is that she is sort of talking about what most people would like to see happen in Cuba. Whether or not it happens, we'll wait to see, but about change. And I think that is an interesting area to explore.